I'm here with Shawn. Shawn is going through a buyer journey process right now. He started with over 25 softwares. He is now down to 4. So we're going to talk to Shawn today about what his buyer journey has looked like and a little bit about his career path and how he's gotten to where he's gotten. So Shawn, tell us about your journey so far. I'd love to hear about your career, kind of like your role, how you've gotten here.
So I'm starting to realize how old I am because I've crested the journey.
You can't do that.
As I've been doing this since 1998.
Okay.
Started off in retail, moved into automotive,
Okay.
went into an iron foundry,
Yeah.
then consumer packaged goods, where I did frozen pies to animal slaughter, to then moving into small instruments, and now I work with the railroad.
Railroad. What are you doing with the railroad? What is your
We
title?
are the primary company that I work for, as we have our parent companies.
Yep.
Why I say it that way. We go on and we weld the rail together to make one long continuous pieces of rail for the Class 1 railroads.
Perfect. And what are you doing for the company? What is your title?
Officially, my title is the Director of Human Resources, which
Okay.
means I have responsibility for all the day-to-day operations of HR, all the way up to
All the
the
reporting.
Arctic Circle and Northern Territories of
Wow.
Canada, to the boot tip of Cancun in Mexico,
So fully global.
Atlantic.
Fully
Yep.
global.
And then we also have a small little bit in Australia, as well as some contractors in the Middle East.
So you're not bored. Never a dull day.
Never.
Never a dull
No.
moment.
Railroad is HR job security.
It's crazy. Tell me a little bit about the software that you're looking to buy right now.
We are currently looking at creating investing in a total HCM.
Okay.
As I mentioned, we have a parent company
Yep.
who, for the first time, has a chief HR officer that is looking at how to standardize across all 4 companies.
Okay.
2 of us have an HRIS,
Yep.
not a true HCM, with 2 of them having nothing, totally manual. He kicked off, because I've done some of these projects in the past, asked me to lead the project in trying to find out who can be truly that full HCM, as well as with the understanding that it has to have a global capability.
100%.
We have Canada, Australia, Mexico, US
100%.
payroll.
Yeah.
That was a huge filter for us,
Yeah.
as many of these companies do not have the
100%.
global payroll capabilities.
Which absolutely makes sense.
Yes.
But there's still 25 of them.
There are still 25, and
Yes.
part of the journey that, as we were talking about off camera,
Yeah.
was this was all stuff I had to do the research.
Yes.
Going through, looking at it,
100%.
meeting with the vendors,
Mhm.
going through the demos. It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Something like Software Finder could have made a big difference for me, as all this legwork could have been minimized,
Yeah.
and I could have put in, this is what I'm looking for, the different criterias,
Yes. 100%.
start to understand what could and couldn't.
Yeah.
Probably narrowed it down to at least 50%, if not down to a third.
100%. I think it's one of those things too where you're down to 4
Or
at
we are
this
now down to
point?
4.
And we were talking about this earlier. Like, it sounds like everybody's selling the same thing, right?
100%.
How do you know the differences between it? How do you know if you're making the right choice, right? And I think that's a big conundrum that we all have as humans. I
Right.
went through the buying process myself this year, and it's just been one of those things where I've had to use our internal experts to help guide me through what is my differentiators here? You know, what is the difference between these 2 softwares? Because I was at 2 at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is going to be the best for our fit? And it was so helpful just to have that human guidance, which is something that we really focus on here.
Exactly. Because when you're investing in an HCM, you're not just looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, there's a lot of dollars into it. There's the implementation costs, there's the time and the labor resources to build the system, there's the learning curve, and then the employee experience. In addition to that, there's a lot of reputation at stake, not just from the
100%.
company, from
Yeah.
a department, but from a personal
Oh,
standpoint.
100%.
Because
we hear this all the time.
with a capital project
Yeah.
with this scope,
Mhm.
it's a make or break situation. As I like to say, it's a good CLE, a career limiting event,
Oh,
where if you make a
100%.
mistake,
Yes.
you will always be known as
Yes.
that person.
That person who brought in that software that everybody loves, right? Isn't that how
Yes.
that works?
Exactly.
Oh, there's so much weight that goes with it. We talk about that, not only buyer's remorse, but that anxiety, right? That
Yep.
like buyer's anxiety when it comes to software buying. It's huge. And
Yep.
you don't know it until you're in the position of actually feeling it. And you're like, this is career defining.
Yes. And the employee
100%.
experience is so critical. But
Yes.
and I don't want to say just because I'm within railroad,
Mhm.
but you're dealing with a workforce that is primarily traveling. They're in the middle of
Yes.
nowhere.
100%.
If you don't have a good mobile capability
100%.
that is very user friendly,
Mhm.
that can operate on the mobile device, as we found many of them sell you that they have mobile capability, but really they need that URL software laptop type
100%.
functionality.
And then globally,
They're not
right?
paid-
Because the setups are going to be different in
Yep.
every country, right? So we're learning that too as we've traveled
Yes.
here into the U.S.,
Yes.
right? That international travel and the mobile
Yep.
devices, they're all
Yep.
had to be set up correctly so that they could be used here in the States,
Yep.
right? So you can say you're global if you're using mobile, right?
Yes.
But is it really a mobile capability across all your
Yep.
different countries?
And AI obviously is the talk of the town.
Oh,
and everyone
100%.
says they have it and
Yes.
how great it is.
Yes.
One of the key pieces of the AI they talk about is the ability to translate the language for you or to operate under multiple different languages.
Mm-hmm.
Had one software that we tested with it, wanted to translate to Spanish and the Mexican dialect. What it did is it did what I wanted in English
Yes.
with a female Mexican accent. It's like, okay, that's not what I'm
not it.
looking for.
That's not it. Yes.
My monolingual
Yes.
Spanish-speaking workforce
Yeah.
needs to understand it, not
100%.
be felt like they're being pacified or talked down to
Yes.
because we have a computer voice
100%.
talking
Yeah.
in English.
That's not the way to do it.
No.
You're right. You're right. So moving forward in this journey, how do you feel like you're going to handle this last 4 of your software?
We will have in-person demos where we will bring our key stakeholders in from the 4 companies.
Your buyer decision.
We will have vendors come in, or solution providers, if you want to
It's
use the
okay.
new term. They'll come in and they each get 1 day to say, okay, this
He
is the
wants
journey.
to be wooed. He wants
Well,
to be wooed. No, I'm just,
It's not just the wooing,
yeah.
but we're also investing with each of them where they're coming
This
in,
is a
taking a look at our
partnership.
mapping.
Yes.
Where are all the processes? Where do you play in this? How do you handle this? How do you handle that? We've
These are
created
the systems we have in place.
Yes.
How can we work together to
Yep.
make this implementation process?
and then have a standardized scorecard to grade each of them against to truly have that apples to apples comparison
Yeah.
and not the apples to oranges. Because as you point out, Becky,
Yeah.
they all tell you the same thing, but there is a big difference
big
in
difference.
how they are.
Yes.
And then we are also doing a lot of additional research. Again,
Okay.
things that we could have benefited from your solution
Yeah.
with understanding customer feedback. Where have others felt?
Yeah.
Do you have to have a person solely dedicated to do the software manipulation behind the scenes?
That implementation process.
Yep.
How long is that process actually taking? Are we happy as we're going through the implementation
Yep.
process, right?
Yep.
Those
Yep.
steps. And then after the implementation process, are they getting the support they need to actually keep it going, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And what is your line of code like? Is it a single source of line of
Yes.
code, like a whole ecosystem, or is it all build-ons? And how much are those build-ons working, or how many glitches are taking place in those algorithms? It's a
Yeah.
very interesting process.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many different variables, especially when it comes to software like that, right?
Agreed.
It's not just a one-size-fits-all situation.
Yep.
And so when you're looking at all these different variables and how they fit into your business needs, right? Like that is a big thing for us as well.
Yep.
So as Software Finder, our big point is that we really connect with a human expert.
Yep.
That human expert is going to listen to your pain points. They want to know about your industry. They're going to know about how big you are. And they want to know what you're covering globally, right? These are all things that they factor into. And then they're going to help lead you in the right direction. So you can go from that 25 at least down to 5, right? This
Right.
process would have been at least streamlined, right?
Yep.
And they can help guide you into the right software and it's also an unbiased opinion, right? Because you're getting a sales opinion and your own opinion,
Yep.
but you're not getting that unbiased opinion as well. And so there's a little bit of help there as well. So we really do focus on that human expert-led guidance when it comes to our buying process for that reason, right?
Yep.
We already talked about it. There's so much anxiety that goes with software finding in general,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
finding the right thing. This is career defining, right? So this is just a way to help mitigate that and help our buyers in a big way.
And this is a conversation I wish I would have had a year ago.
We should have been here.
I know.
We should have
I
been
wasn't
here.
invited.
It's fine. I wasn't here either. I get it. Now we
But
are though. Now
That's
you
right.
know, right?
That's right.
And I think moving forward, let's make sure this partnership lasts for us. That
I
way
look forward
we
to
can help get you into the right places. And also too, as you have a next one, right?
Yep.
There's always a next one.
There's
Now, but the issue is if you do too good of a job, there's always going to be a next one.
There is, and
that's a great thing.
that's just it. And
You know?
every opportunity has a lesson. You learn the game plans, and you move forward.
100%. Hey, it's been great talking to
It
you.
was a pleasure. Thank
I
you
think
so
you
much.
appreciate it so much. This has
It's been great.
great.